Hey free-to-play gang, welcome back to another video. We are covering Reverse 1999 for today's topic. Now this is a game that I recently got into just yesterday, right? So far my experience with the game is actually surprisingly good. I didn't realize that the game is actually so polished. The story, the voice acting, the plot, everything is great. The combat as well is also pretty well. I would say it's not super straightforward. There is actually a lot of depth to it. Okay, so the reason why we are starting off at this screen is just to give you guys an idea of how fast the load times are, and the load times are super fast. So that's it. So we are already inside the game, which is amazing. So this is also the same if you're playing on mobile devices as well. The load times are pretty good. Okay, so for today's video, I want to show you guys what the game is all about and why I'm pretty impressed with it as well. So first, we have the story stages over here. There are a couple of things that I want to show you guys. So you already see in the title that there is a gift code and there is also another solution of one of the puzzles here, which you will not actually know the solution to this puzzle unless you actually played the game for a little bit longer. So some of you guys might know this mention here. This is actually Sotheby's mansion, and there is a question that is posed to you, which is, what is the thing on the wall with a horn on the head and is looking at everything else, right? The answer to that is actually in chapter 2. So you're not actually going to get the solution so easily, right? But the solution to that is a quiet raven heart. I'll put the answer on the screen. You can go ahead and input it. It's going to give you about, I don't know, 20 paid currency or something like that, right? It's not much, but I guess that's something cute. And there is also another thing, which is the gift code. So let's go ahead to the settings here. You can just input exchange code reward, click on go, and 1999 gift. That is it. So you just confirm, and I've already claimed the pack. So what you can obtain from this is 50 gems. I mean, what's the gem called? What's this thing called? 50 clear drops. Okay, so you get about 50 clear drops from that. And that is the admin stuff out of the way. So let's take a look at the game, starting with obviously the combat. Okay, so the combat in this game is actually pretty good. Okay, we don't really want to click this button. This goes to the story. This is actually what leads you to the main page, right? So you can go to the story here, or you can go to resource farming, for example. So I haven't actually unlocked a lot of stuff in this game. I've been taking my time, dude. I've been just listening to the plot, watching the plot. It's really quite entertaining. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at the pussy, and you can see that the difficulties here are actually locked behind the story mode completion, which means you have to actually play the story in order for you to progress in this. So let's take a look at the pussy 2 and what combat is like in this game and some of the really good QOLs in my opinion, right? Okay, so first we are just gonna fight. We're just going to see what this is all about, how combat looks like in this game. There's a special effect here. Enemies take reality damage plus 30%. Okay, so all of my characters here deal reality damage, so that's pretty helpful, I think. Okay, so when you're starting off in this game, you're going to be very overwhelmed because you do not know what each of these tiles mean. You do not know what the effects are. But I think you just give yourself a couple of hours. You're probably going to get used to whatever that you need to recognize, right? So this, I know, is a team-wide buff, which maybe I should show you, right? It increases the damage that you deal by 15%. And the damage taken minus 15% for all allies. And you also grant yourself an additional 10% penetration rate for herself. So we're going to do that, so we deal extra 15% damage. And I know this is an AoE attack. The target is 2 enemies, right? So I'm going to use an AoE attack. And I also know that this is an AoE attack. So mass attack deals blah 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 blah. And this attack has extra 30% penetration. So something like that. We buff up. And then we attack. Right? So that's it. Animation-wise, the quality is fantastic, dude. I must say that the effort, or rather the art direction team, is amazing. They have done a fantastic job. Okay, so now we do not need to use our buff because we still have one more turn of the buff here. So what we're going to do instead is we're probably going to take out one of them. So we're going to do this, which is a debuff, and it lands Nasty Wound. We don't really care too much about Nasty Wound here, but by inflicting a debuff first, this actually powers up our next attack here, which is All Pocket Watch, because whenever the enemy is in some kind of a debuff, this attack's damage increases by 40%, and the leech rate also increases by 10%, which is essentially just lifesteal. So we can do that, probably take out this guy over here, and then we can change our target to someone else afterwards. Like, let's say we can deal another AoE attack here. Yeah, so you can actually change the targets anytime, right? So make sure that you know about this. Yep, there you go. Okay, so I'm hoping to show you the more mechanics of this game. Okay, great. So you can see that this guy, he's attacking twice. This boss over here, he will not be attacking at all. So what we can do is we can actually do this, combine these two cards, and from an attack card, this now lands a debuff, which is a disarm. And what disarm will do is to remove all offensive tiles that the enemies have. So there is offense, or rather there is attack, there is debuff, and there is buff, and there is healing as well. So these two swords, they represent attack, and therefore we can actually just remove the attacks over there with this debuff. But before that, I guess we're going to buff up first to increase our DPS, and then we're going to use this effect over here.
So long lives this, and this gives power to thee.
Very cool. So now the enemies, they're just not going to take a turn, right? That's it. Yep, and now it's our turn again. So what we can do now is we have a bunch of cards together like that. We don't really need to combine them into a 3-star card, because if you take a look at DPS wise, right, we are doing 270% damage here. But if let's say we were to combine this into a 3-star, that takes up 2 moves, and that only deals 450%, which is not twice the amount of the 2 stars effect. So I might not do it. I can actually press the card over here to undo it. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this skill, and then I'm going to use this skill, which is 270%, and then I'm going to use this skill again, which is another 270%. So that is effectively more damage, right? Yeah, it's effectively more damage than moving the card and then combining a card. So there is not... Oh, wow. That's it. So far, I haven't found a lot of reason to combine cards unless they just so happen to fall into place, because for the most part, most cards just have increased effects. There are a few cards, like for example Soneto with the disarm debuff, and that is only possible if you combine her cards. So those are some of the ways that I feel like it makes sense to combine. But in other situations, like for example in this situation, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, because multiplicatively, it just makes more sense to cast 2 different attacks by summing up the damage from 2 2-star cards as opposed to combining them and using them for 1 3-star card in terms of DPS output. Anyway, memory with lesser rounds detected. Replace the current one with it. Confirm. So what this is about is we have a replay function. And this is one of the major QL in this game, in my opinion, right? So let's say we try this again, right? You can press start. We have actually done this before. So the game actually recognizes that we have done this before. We can press the replay button at the bottom here. And what this does is it will replay the exact same moves that you have done, which means all the cards that you're going to obtain, they are going to be fixed as well. And they are going to be consumed according to the number of times that you want to consume here. So for example, you can do it 4 times. So if you press the replay button here, this is actually going to consume 60 stamina, which is 4 runs of this with the exact same setup. Let's take a look, right? Okay, maybe you know what? I'll just do it 1 time so I don't waste my stamina, okay? I love you guys, but I don't love you guys that much. So it's actually going to replay everything that we have done. Everything, and in a much faster pace as well. So if you are short on time and you really want to just throw your stamina out real quick, let's say you're rushing for work, rushing for class, whatever, right? Or going to meet your mom, for example, or something like that. You can actually use this to clear your stamina really quickly. And in just like a couple of runs, you're done. That's it. And that's it, right? This was the final attack, wasn't it? And there you go. So you actually replayed the same series of attacks, and this is just a really good QL in my opinion. You're not actually limited by skip tickets, right? So that is amazing. Okay, so that was combat. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff here. So we have the wilderness as well. What the wilderness is something a little bit more casual. So if you care a little bit more about building your world around you, then you can actually use this function for that. And I do enjoy casual content in the game. So I don't think many of you guys know, but I actually enjoy housing systems in games. So you can actually build the world by placing all these tiles around you. So all these individual tiles, they're actually placed. So if I so choose to, I can actually edit this and just change the layout. Or if I want to build on this, I can actually buy more tiles. That's right, you can actually buy tiles with free-to-play currency. And this is achieved by doing your daily activeness or your weekly activeness. And you can buy certain tile packs. So this will actually give you a bunch of tiles. It's not just one single tile. It's like a bunch of it. And I have actually already purchased one, which is, I think, the alchemist something. The alchemist set. The anthemy yard. The anthemy yard. So most of them are over here. Some of them are all around. Some of them are the water tiles as well. But yeah, so you can actually adjust the tiles whenever. You can retrieve them if you don't want to, like, I don't know, maybe you don't like this over here. You can actually retrieve it and you can place it somewhere else. Something like that, right? You can place it anywhere. So that is actually pretty cool. So something like that. Very nice. And aside from that, the whole point of this system is so that the more tiles that you place, the higher your vigor will be. So currently my vigor is at 510, which I think this increases my resource output by 22%. And the resource that you're trying to produce is, I think, the Dust Bell Tower. So this actually produces stuff every so often, right? Yeah, vigor bonus. Do you see that over there? And I think the Paleo Hall as well, but I'm not super sure. Oh, the Paleo Hall is just essentially your city hall where you can upgrade everything around you. So in order for me to build a Shapodonti market, I need to upgrade this building to level 2. I see. So this is just like your main hall, something like that, your city hall. And aside from that, you can place some characters around, and you notice that there are some stuff here next to your character. So the longer that they exist in this world, the more rewards that you're going to obtain. So that actually increases the Wait, what? 0% bond? What? Then what reward was that? Twin sleep bond 0? What? Wait, what? Bond is increased for eternity and other characters. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. So the longer you place your characters here, the more bond they get, basically. And what bond does, I am not super sure right now. Okay, but anyway, so that was the oh wow, that's so weird. That was the wilderness, which is technically a place that exists within the main character's suitcase. Yeah, small little nugget for you guys, I guess. Okay, next we have the crew system, which is just looking at all your characters, right? So there are some characters here who are really good. That's why I'm using them. And you notice that one of them is a 3-star character, the Alien T. Now, thanks to one of my Discord members for showing me this character, by the way. This character is actually really good. So he has a normal attacking skill, which is like whatever, I don't really care. But he has a second skill here, which is really good. So at 1 star, this skill actually gives him taunt and reduces damage taken by 40% for 1 round, which is almost as good as his 3-star card over here, which decreases damage taken by 60% for 3 rounds instead. But I feel like this at 1 star is actually pretty good. It's going to reduce a lot of damage that he takes, and he's going to taunt for you, so he helps keep your team alive. And aside from that, his ultimate attack is also really good. So Future Interstellar War, Prelude, Mass Attack deals 200% reality damage to everyone and inflicts 1 round of Disarm and Silence on all enemies. So we have actually seen what Disarm does, which is what Sonato does with her 2-star card, right? Her debuff card. So Disarm cannot use attack incantations, and Silence cannot use buff, debuff, heals, or counter incantations, which means the enemy can only use debuffs, which is very like there's only so few debuffs in the game, right? Most of the skills in this game, they are attacks or heals or buffs. Debuffs are just like, I don't know, a very, very small percentage. So his ultimate is actually pretty good. That actually buys your entire team 1 entire turn, and he's only a 3-star character, which means it's very easy for you to fully upgrade him in terms of Portray, which is your resonance system. So by obtaining more copies of him, you're able to reso him basically, right? So we call it Portray in this game. And of course, he gains some extra effects along the way, which is, I think it's just some extra DPS or like some extra stats and all that kind of stuff. It's usually not such a big deal. It's not like in Dislight where you start off with like some amazing bullshit or something, right? Okay, so anyway, there is another thing called the Insight, which is, in Dislight terms, the Ascension system. So I said that I thought this was the Rezo system because the effects are actually really good, right? So maybe not for this character, but for example, for Eternity, she has some crazy insights over here. So at Insight 1, she actually has Inheritance Solitude for 100 years will be leveled up. And what this does is essentially gains immunity to a lot of stuff. A lot of good stuff in her Insight bonuses over here. So that is the Insight, and that is the Portray. And we also have the level up, obviously. And we also have equipment in this game, which is called... I forgot the name of it. I tried, but I can't remember. But I'm not sure how we can equip them just yet. I think it's probably this thing over here, but I need to play the story a little bit more to unlock it. So before that, I'm not super sure. And also, one more thing, we have skins. So you notice that some of your characters here, they will gain skins if you have them at Insight 2, which is essentially free to play, because this is just upgrading them a couple of times with their Insight, and they're just going to gain a free skin like that, right? So you can actually change them up a little bit, and that is amazing in my opinion. So if I'm not mistaken, I think all 4-star characters and above, they would have a brand new skin. So for example, for the Alien, he will not have another skin, but let's say the Eagle, for example, right? A 4-star character, she will also have another skin, something like that. It's not as amazing as your 6-star character, right? And for example, for Sonato, she also has her own skin, which is... Oh, no, wait, this is obtained by event. Okay, so for some reason, she doesn't have the Insight 2 skin. For some reason, I don't know why. Maybe let's take a look at Matilda. Yeah, there you go. So she has her own skin as well. So it obviously looks better for higher rarity characters. Okay, so that is the crew, and that's whatever that we can expect. And then we also have the summoning system here, and I'm just going to show you the rates, right? So right now, we have the Sotheby banner, and we also have the A Knight banner. And then this is like the generic banner. So they all follow the same rates, essentially. So rate details for 6-star characters, it's a 1.5%. 8.5% for 5-star, 40% for 4-star, 45% for 3 stars, and there's actually a 5% for 2-star characters as well. I don't know why. Miss Radio and Doll, okay. Cool. But if you're going for a character banner, there is actually a rate up for these characters. So 50% of all 6-star characters will be the banner character, which is Sotheby. 50% will be the 5-star characters, and... Okay, over here. So in banner, Graham, 1 gram of... 1 gram of curiosity. If you have not obtained any 6-star characters after 60 consecutive summons, the rate of summoning a 6-star character in the next summon will rise from 1.5% to 4%. After that, every summon that doesn't grant a 6-star character will increase the rate by 2.5%. So every 70 summons, it guarantees a 1 6-star character essentially. So the PT over here is 70 summons. So that really depends on how often we get currency in this game. So assuming that we can get 70 summons per month, then we can get 1 6-star character per month. But Will that be the case? I am not super sure. This is not this slide. So it's good to know that there is a PT system at least, and there are some ways that they handle duplicates as well. So after portraying a character to, I think, portray 5, beyond that, you will not need additional copies of that one character. And what happens is you get stuff called Albums of the Lost. And what it does, I am really not sure. Okay, so that is the summon system. And I think that's also probably like the end of today's video, because so far there is, from what I understand, right, there is no PvP in this game. So the game is mostly story focused, it's lore focused, it's also character based, and it's also combat focused as well. So I'm really enjoying myself, surprisingly, right? So this game has a really good mixture of casualness and competitiveness, I guess. But for the most part, it really requires me to think a little bit, which is what I enjoy a lot. Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know how you feel about this game as well down in the comment section below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to give a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Reverse 1999 content. Now with that said, this has been Derek Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.